I invited you here to address you on the present situation we have found ourselves on the 25th February election, which was conducted by Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). The presidential election was conducted, senatorial election was conducted, and House of Representatives election was conducted. And with the outcome of the election across the country, it has shown that the new technology introduced by INEC, BBAS, and the uploading of the result sheet and transmission of the result from the polling unit, it has come to stay. People who you have not expected to win election have won election. An Okada rider in Kaduna won a Federal House of Representatives election in Kaduna in Kaura Federal constituency. Serving governors who have money, who can manipulate the system, who can bribe an official, lost election. Ben Ayade of Cross River. Ogwani has lost election. Atiku Bagudo lost election. And many others on the way. They will lose in the election after declaration at the coalition center, various coalition centers. A sitting senators who have performed very well, Senator Uche Ekunebe in Anambra State, lost election to the former national chairman of ABGA, Senator Victor Ume, has been returned to the Senate by the grace of God. Somebody who has contested election in Njikoka, Dunu Kofia, and Nyocha Federal Constituency, he was elected under Plateau ABGA 2003-2007. After all the years, he was out of the National Assembly and he won election on their level. Well, ABGA has a sitting governor in Anambra State. In that Anambra Central, they have a serving senator. They have a serving House of Rep member in that constituency where Peter Obi come from, and they lost election. So what I'm trying to experiment here is to tell you a letter written by Obasanjo to Mr. President of Nigeria is baseless, it's uncalled for, and it's disastrous to the unity and the peace of this country. Somebody who has been a military head of state, somebody who has been a president for good 8 years, is a beneficiary of the democratic struggle of Nedeko and other confactors in this country. And now he's trying to turn back to truncate the hard-earned democracy which people have labored for good 24 years. The democracy has come to stay. Uninterrupted military intervention for good 24 years. From 1999 to 2023, we have an uninterrupted democratic transitions. And now, somebody who has been a civilian president, military president, sending an invitation of chaos and violence and calamity in this our dear nation. It cannot be longer to be tolerated by so-called President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo. This is an unpatriotic, for somebody being a leader like former president to insert public against the government. For him to say that the coalitions will be stopped is just trying to now bring back or refresh our memory to the period of military rule of President Ibrahim Babangida when Humphrey Onwosu, Professor Humphrey Onwosu, cancelled the election, which was believed to be free and fair and transparent election in the history of Nigeria. That is election won by MKO Abiola. And that is it is the same history he wants to repeat. He wants us to have another June 12 in Nigeria. God forbid, 30 years ago, a former president is now inviting Nigerians for another June 12th. Calling for cancellation is unacceptable. Nigeria has a lot of laws. We have laws. We have constitution. We have election manual. We have election guidelines. We have also Electoral Act 2022. It was clearly in Nigerian constitution and on the Electoral Act 2022 that if any candidate feels aggrieved or any political party feels aggrieved, he should seek redress in the court of law. But you cannot and you should not also invite or incite members of the public against the government. In summary, what Obasanjo did is treasonable felony. Nigerian security should do their constitutional duty in line with the Constitution of Nigeria to invite former President Obasanjo for questioning. And he should write an undertaking that whatever happens at the end of the collation and declaration of this result, Obasanjo, if there is any breakdown of law and order, should be charged for treasonable felony in the appropriate court of law. It's uncalled for and baseless. If you look at the history, former INEC chairman, Professor Jega, Ataru Jega, introduced smart card reader. And our election improved from 2011 to 2015, the election improved. People have gone to court challenging the election and they were declared governors or reps or senators. In 2015 to 2019, also there was some improvement. In 2022, people have called for review of the electoral laws. And with the revision of the electoral law and signing it into law by the Mr. President, there is enough provisions that a candidate can challenge an election in the appropriate tribunal, election petition tribunal. So anybody calling for the INEC chairman to the stop collation of result, it shows he's an ignorant of Nigerian laws. If people agreed on the outcome of the election, what you should do, if you know that you have a genuine case, is to approach a court of law and seek redress. But you have no right whatsoever, in line with the law of this country, to stop INEC chairman from continuing collation and declaring the candidate. That was what the Constitution said. So the action of Labour Party and PDP, they have addressed press conference. And there's a letter from the OB campaign organization urging all Nigerians in the 30 states, including Abuja, to occupy INEC office by 9 a.m. I call on the head of security agencies to invite the author of that letter and hold him responsible for any breakdown of law and order across Nigeria. Secondly, Mr. Peter Obi has happened to be a member of ABGA while I was a national secretary for good 8 years. Peter Obi is the beneficiary of judicial struggle. In 2003, he approached the court when he lost election to Ngige, a candidate of PDP. Peter Obi challenged the election result from 2003 to 2016. He was in court for 2 years, 10 months, and the court declared him, Court of Appeal, Enugu, declared him winner of the election in 16 March 2006. And Peter Obi was sworn in on 17 March 2006. He was the beneficiary of the judicial struggle, and he knows is a court veteran. You know how to approach court and seek redress. Nobody should drum or invite or call for any violence or breakdown of law and order in Nigeria. Peter Obi again, after Andy Uba was elected on that platform of PDP, Peter Obi again approached the court and seek for tenure interpretation. And it's clearly in the constitution that the day governor took an oath of office, an oath of allegiance, then his tenure will start counting. And that is what gave birth to what Adams Oshomele was the beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. Aggreshola is a beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. Kayode Payemi is a beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. Idris Wada Bello is also a beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. And Hope Ozudinma is a beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. Bayelsa Dixon is a beneficiary of Peter Obi judicial struggle. And many others in this country are beneficiary of Peter Obi struggle. So Peter Obi, being a law-abiding citizen from the day I know him, please, he should call his supporters across the country and call even Obasanjo to order, who is supporting him, that they have every reason to go to court constitutionally to seek redress. An invitation for chaos, an invitation for violence, an invitation for anything that will cause a breakdown of down order is apparent disregard the provision of the Electoral Act 2002 and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I hereby call all the APC supporters nationwide to be law-abiding citizens of this country. The result coming in at the National Coalition Center, Presidential Election National Coalition Center, is highly encouraging, and in the few hours to come, we are going to celebrate nationwide. Peter Obi should accept the outcome of the result, including Atiku. I urge them to accept the outcome of the result and seek redress in the law court. Peter Obi miraculously performed well in the election. I think the best thing for him is to go to court, and if he fell in the court, and try again. But he has a good starting, and it's highly encouraging. So I call on all Nigerians to accept the INEC technology, to accept the outcome of the election result, and also to get ready for 11 March 2023 governorship and state house assembly election. Naira design policy and the scarcity of Naira in circulation has drastically minimized the corruption in the election. Drastically. This is the good advantage of the policy. And secondly, the introduction of BIBAS and transmission of the result has now also equally improved the electoral system in Nigeria. And it also gives hope to the electorate that their vote is counted. So if you look at the voting patterns, now it has given Nigeria more hope that in future nobody can become somebody. Somebody who started from zero level can become a hero if you contested an election. So this is a clear demonstration that people are now have been educated on the voting pattern in Nigeria. In the history of Nigeria, this is the only transition period where Nigerians were fully educated on how to use beavers and how to vote. So with the dynamics of the election, I think we have to say thank you to Professor Muhammad Yakubu for standing firm to improve the electoral system by introducing this new technology of beavers. Because this beavers is more highly improved, transparent, accurate than the smart card reader. Because during the introduction of smart card readers, there is a lot of room for manipulation, for alteration, for rigging, for discrepancies. Because during the smart card reader, there is provision for incident form. When the smart card reader fail, that's in the incident form. But this one, when the smart card reader fail, you will not be allowed. When the beavers fail, you will not be allowed to vote. Because number of accredited voters must tally with the vote casted. Must tally. And any ballot paper that remains will be cancelled. But in those period, primitive period, then the rest of the ballot paper, they will go ahead and ballot stop it. But now, if you like, still a ballot box is useless. If you like, still ballot paper is useless. I have that experience in Shinkafi local government. In one ward, in Galadi, more than 13 polling units were cancelled for overvoting. Because the result has not tallied with the reading from the beavers. And that even what gave birth to how the House of Representatives member won in Shinkafi because of the overvoting. Many polling units were cancelled, while APC has a strong base in that polling unit. And that would which gave him a wide margin to defeat his opponent in Shinkafi local government. So I want to tell you that the ANEC chairman, who I know for many years, since he was a lecturer in Usman Danfodio University, since he was a lecturer in the Nigerian Defense Academy, and also when he was Assistant Secretary, National Conference, when I was a delegate to the National Conference in 2014, he was our Assistant Secretary Finance. He was the one paying us allowances. So I knew him as a man of integrity. He's a man of courage. You cannot intimidate him. You cannot harass him. Somebody who can tolerate past patience. If you see the attitude of some of the fallen agent at the National Collation Center, he was able to absorb them, and the collation continues. So I urge him to stand firm and do his constitutional duty to make sure that all the results collated are announced and declared, and anybody who won election, he should not fear anybody. He should do it and go ahead to declare results. Anybody calling for cancellation, he will be a laughing stock in this country. It means that either he's an illiterate or he's an ignorant of Nigerian laws that said that when you go for an election, either a candidate or political party, if you have anything, if you have any complaint, you should petition Election Petition Tribunal and also file your briefs in the appropriate constituted Election Petition Tribunal, constituted by Court of Appeal, President of the Court of Appeal. So it's very unfortunate where people who have been in the National Assembly, somebody who has been a governor, somebody who is a learned person, will now call for cancellation of the presidential election at the middle of the collation and announcement of result. So what they are now trying to do, they are calling, they want to take us back to the history of June 12, 30 years ago, which God forbid do not happen in this country. So I call on members of National Peace Committee, headed by Abdulsalam Abubakar, Hassan Mati Kuka, and His Royal Highness the Sultan of Sokoto, to step in quickly to make sure that they save this country from unpatriotic leaders who are trying to burn down the country, and it's unacceptable. This country has future, and our young men has future. Somebody who is at the age of Obasanjo, I think the young men should reject any call he made, because in Hausa we can say ya lashe ne. Na Najeriya da dokar zaɓe ta shekara ta 2022